Hey guys, your bear boy host Hito here, introducing another Retrogade. How's it going, everyone? I'm here to be doing some Capcom talk today for the Retrogade. As you can see, boom, Capcom on the screen for us today. But today we'll be talking Capcom on the Retrogade, so we'll be dropping the retro bomb of nostalgia right on ya with our first guest, CEO Biori. And let me just get Discord up and there we go. All right.
Hey Huto, how you doing? What's up, everybody? I'm CEO Biori. I am a cool, cringe, and cute PNG tuber, soon to be VTuber, and I'm that tuber you want to see tuber. I'm looking forward to being here. I am a huge Capcom fan. People who know me know I love my Capcom video games. Street Fighter 6 has been fun. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. And now we get to see a cringy clip of you for a second.
Better make you blush. I fell in.
Is this Shadow the Hedgehog?
Oh, Moss. Oh, Moss.
You played Shadow the Hedgehog?
You saw how I fell in the lava reading that? I kind of got distracted because I'm sitting here like, oh, fuck. Ooh. Ooh, Moss.
If you guys are not following CEO Biori, you totally should. Also, they will be able to answer any questions in the regular text chat if they want to on this Twitch area.
Mm-hmm.
Ariel Korn says, I can confirm that Biori is a cute, cringe VTuber who loves Capcom video games.
Ariel.
Okay.
Thank you, Ariel.
Okay, see, I was right. I picked someone right for the job. See, I know how to pick my guest. The last person who commented on my video on the Retrogade on YouTube who said, hey, you don't have guests that know their shit. And I'm like, excuse me.
Good sir.
All right. We follow our second guest of the group chat of today, which is Shell Shock Prime.
Hey everybody, good to see you all. It's me, Shell Shock Prime, and I am a variety streamer who also loves Capcom games. I've been playing Capcom games since the 90s with Street Fighter and Mega Man, and it's a company that I follow to this day, and I will be following for as long as I can play video games.
Definitely. All right, and let's get a Shell Shock clip.
You got.
Remember, guys, if you're in the chat, they can answer the questions. They can answer the questions for you.
Oh, holy shit! Yo, it's shiny!
Oh, this.
Holy shit! Holy fucking shit! Yo, I gotta get it. I have to catch it. Since I already have it, I'm gonna use.
It's a shiny.
Well, let's start with quick ball. I'll use repeat ball afterwards.
Definitely. But all in all together, if you're not following Shell Shock Prime, again, totally should. Okay? I have to wait another 17 seconds to shout out Shell Shock. How dare you, Twitch? Don't worry.
It's fine.
No, we'll get it. It's fine. It's okay. I'll just wait the 17 seconds. Okay? Everyone shut the fuck up for 17 seconds. Could you imagine somebody like shut the fuck up? Shut the fuck up for like 17 seconds, okay? We gotta do this. No. Alright. So, guys, as always, we like to start things off with the very first memory of Capcom games for everybody. So, what is the very first Capcom game you've ever played that you can remember?
That's an easy one for me. That's definitely Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition on the Sega Genesis.
Dang.
Easily. Long story short, Grandma Biori was a much better gamer than I am. Not many people can also say that their grandma was like gamer-esque because, yeah, imagine getting your ass handed to you constantly by a sweet little old lady. Fond memories.
That'll happen. I can say that I have Mama Retro, but that's about it. All right, Shell?
My first Capcom game that I can remember playing when I was little was the very first version of Street Fighter 2 in the arcades. I was at an amusement park with my family, and then I stumbled upon it randomly. I think the first character I played as was Dalsim. No, it wasn't Dalsim. It might have been Ryu. Because at the time I didn't know the difference between like any of the characters in the game. I didn't even understand games yet. Like I was still like new to it.
Weebebs.
And then I lost, and then my parents were like we gotta move on to the next thing we're gonna do, and the rest is history.
So, for me, my first Capcom games, I have two, because my cousin decided to give me a box full of his old SNES games, and he was like, "Listen, he's starting to game. We got to give him a box of SNES games." So he provided me both the original Street Fighter 2 for the SNES and Final Fight.
Ooh, Final Fight.
So
Final Fight's a good one.
So, get this. I got scared of Vega's defeat animation. Mind you, the reason why was because, how do I put this? I was only 3, so, wasn't used to seeing all the blood and everything. And so...
That'll do it.
No, but here's the thing, though. Vega gave me a hard time when I was 3 fighting through this game. So, I'm fighting through it. I'm always losing to Vega. Nothing new has happened. I have been losing to Vega nonstop. Nothing has happened. And then finally, 3-year-old Hito beat the crap out of Vega and then saw the face that was supposed to be beautiful, but not anymore. And it was my fault. And then I just got terrified seeing that face. I'm like...
Honestly, the names are pretty, like, the faces are really, like, gnarly for those games.
Exactly.
They
So,
really are.
my Mama Retro heard me scream and was like, "Okay, so you're not allowed to play this game or Mortal Kombat ever again. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these, and you're not allowed to touch these games until you can actually reach the top of this shelf on the closet." And I'm like, okay, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. I just wanted it away from me. I didn't want to see it after that. I was like, no. And then what didn't help that one of my friends knew this little triggering thing about me and decided to play the game in front of me. And I'm like, fuck you.
That's not nice. It's not nice at all.
Mind you, I was 10 at the time. I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to. I was a chicken shit for certain games. Okay, even Pokemon gave me a chicken shit situation with Lavender Town, seeing the ghost. Like that was a thing. There was another thing where Bust a Move at one point scared me because a girl exploded when you beat her, and I'm like, my mom beat this girl up in Bust a Move, and it was like she exploded.
They're dead now.
Like that's what I thought. You know what I mean? Like I fairly thought she exploded, but yeah. I was not allowed to play that game anymore, but then I was still allowed to play Final Fight with Hagar and Cody, and I was like, ooh, okay, this game is fun. And then I noticed some people from I noticed a connection between Final Fight and Street Fighter. I'm like, oh, is this game safe for me?
Yeah.
So that's where my first memory of like Capcom comes in. A year later, I ended up getting Goof Troop that was made by Capcom, which again, first date game with my partner was Goof Troop.
Oh, that's cute.
And it was the
Very
first
nice.
game we beat too.
Very nice.
But yep, that's my first memories of Capcom games at least. First games that I remember were Final Fight and Street Fighter. All right, so the next question. Which game did you dominate in Capcom? Which game do you know in and out, beating the crap out of this game, no challenges whatsoever?
For me, oh, go ahead, you first.
No, you first.
All right. So, back in the day, at least, I used to be amazing. Again, another game on the Genesis, the Ghouls and Ghosts. Everybody knows that game infamously for being hard, but like, look, when you're young and you got all the time in the world and you've got years playing these games, I used to be able to consistently get at least to the final level until I started getting my ass kicked there. But a game that I absolutely dominate aside from Ghouls and Ghosts, nowadays I'm way better at it than I used to be. But I'd have to say Okami is one. Okami, I'm very much like the Clover Studios dude. I love Beautiful Joe, Beautiful Joe 2, those kinds of games. Oh, so fun.
It's Clover. Just that very sexy voice that goes off in the background. Just, it's Clover.
Clover.
All right,
Yep.
Shell, you're here.
So for me, there's a couple of them. One of the ones that I'm going to mention is Mega Man X1 for the Super Nintendo. I know that game like for the back of my hand because there's like I know like all the Maverick weaknesses. I know where you can get all of the 8 heart tanks as well as the sub tanks and also the upgrades that you need to power up Mega Man X. And I also know the secret Hadouken technique once you beat all the Mavericks, and then you go fight Sigma as well. I know everything. I could beat that game within like at least an hour.
A lot of people can beat that game in at least an hour. They love the whole entire thing.
It's really good. I absolutely love that game.
It is such a good game.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, one of the games that I enjoy playing a lot, and it took me a lot of skill to know this game very much in and out because it took a rise out of me. And I hope to one day stream this game on Twitch because honestly, it's a fun game for me. But it took me a while to master Dead Rising, and once I mastered Dead Rising, I was Frank Westing through the whole game. My outfit of choice was either putting on a nice pink dress and rocking down the mall, or just being in my underwear. It's fine. Like, listen, you can't hate me for that, okay? Listen, I want to see more of this, okay? I'm intrigued, okay? Naked man right here. I'm intrigued. Please give me what I want. Just give me what I want. That's all I want. Just give me more of this.
Yeah.
But Frank West's Journey does that. I just never played 2 or 3, and that's another situation that such a thing that goes into it. So I need to play 2 at some point, and 3 and 4. So that's kind of where that goes into play.
Oh yeah.
The Dead Rising series is such a good one, though.
It's so random.
Exactly, the randomness of it. There is a structure to it, and there are like timed events and whatnot, but it's very open and very free, and that's what I love about that game. The series in general, honestly.
Yeah, like it's legitimately like one of the better games that Capcom has done. However, they did downhill it so many times that they literally like. I was sad when they downhilled it so many times. I was like, please, don't do this. Love the game.
It barely went downhill after 2.
Yeah. And then Off the Record came out after 2, which I loved Off the Record because then we got to play as Frank West for a little bit again. I was like reliving my fantasy. I'm like, yes, please, more of this. More of this.
Yep.
Okay. Now, Capcom games. This is going to be good. What is your favorite multiplayer Capcom game?
Easy. If it's not Battle Network, because I do back in the day I did play that game competitively, and this is back when I was like 9, 10, 11. I continue to play so with the Legacy Collection nowadays. It's hard to get a battle, but hey, I'm trying. Aside from that, I'm very big on the fighting games. Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, Rival Schools, you name it. The fighting games, those are like that's my domain.
Oh yeah. Yeah, same here actually. I love the fighting games. Like I play them as well. But for me, I'm also into the Monster Hunter series. I've been playing the Monster Hunter series since Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii, and though I didn't play that much of Monster Hunter World, but I did play a lot of Monster Hunter Rise, and I'm looking forward to where the next game in the series takes us.
All right. My multiplayer game. So there's one game in particular that I enjoyed the most because it became multiplayer afterwards. But I like the Mario Party of Beautiful Joe, which was Red Hot Rumble.
Ooh, Red Hot Rumble.
It was great.
Such a fun game.
But if we're gonna talk also multiplayer on the situation, there's one specific Resident Evil game I jived with, and that was Operation Raccoon City.
I got to play it once online and once co-op with a friend. I've always wanted to go back and play it.
So
It looks so fun to finish.
I'm looking for 4 people to play this game with if I ever get it up and running, because I have to be the resident demo man and blow everything up. I played as Bentley, the demo man. Not Bentley. I'm trying to remember his name. It's been a long time. But I played Demolition.
Bellway?
Bellway, there we go. I played Bellway quite often, to the fact that I did a whole entire lore, and then at some point I found some fancy Rule 34 stuff on it. So, it was great. And then I found some not so flattering Rule 34 stuff on Bellway, because they found out they had a prosthetic leg, and they were like, oh, we're going to make this even more cringe. I'm like, oh, fantastic. Thank you.
How nice. How nice.
How nice. How very nice. Exactly the face that I made. See, like, this is the face that we make when that happens. It happens.
Yep.
But Resident Evil, Operation Raccoon City, and the other one was Red Hot Rumble. I loved those games. Red Hot Rumble was I was a dick in Red Hot Rumble. Damn. Yeah, Sprocket.
See, you think you're bad? I self-destructed constantly using the Bianchis. I'm a monster.
Like, I played Sprocket because, the kissing attack literally breaks hitboxes, and I'm like, oh, so we could just cheat. Okay, cool. Somebody charges at me. Okay, wow. You did it.
Was so, like, especially if you had sound effect, you just can't get past it.
Yep.
It's a literal wall. It's so. It's so good.
But before I unlocked Sprocket, I did I did Captain Blue Jr. because I love yo-yos. Again, I could go over how much I have a love for yo-yos as a weapon, but Captain Blue Jr. is another one that uses the yo-yos, and I'm just like, yes, more of this, please. Give me yo-yos. So, yo-yos, they're very important. Very important tool. Okay? Fight me on this. Yo-yos are the best weapons. Okay, you could style trick, you can have them come back. They're not like boomerangs where they might have a chance of leaving you. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my multiplayer game. Now, favorite Capcom character. And hold on. Favorite male favorite husbando Capcom character. Favorite male character in Capcom.
That is a good one. Ooh.
Tough one. Whew, let me think about that.
Male character from Darkstalkers. I'm thinking there's a bunch from Darkstalkers.
Do any of them have nipples? Do any of them have nipples?
Listen, if you're looking for like anything like that, like TNA, I got you right now. Victor. This man's whole his ass is a whole part of his like fight set in that game.
Wait.
Like, he has a command grab, he grabs you with his ass and like electrocutes you. It's the funniest shit.
Wait. Hold on. We could see some of this. Hold on. Let's just let's go to the Hito cam for a second and just do this for a minute. Just guys, it's fine. No, wrong thing. Why is it on that? Oh. Jesus. Okay, that's that.
You're not supposed to see that.
You're not supposed to see that. Abort mission. There we go. You just gotta get a little Victor in here. Look at that. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, the Frankenstein's monster knockoff from Darkstalkers.
The immersion is ruined. Yeah, I
didn't do it.
I hit that. He's gonna have to put on a rubber though, because I don't want to get not because I want to have it safe. It's because I want to have it safe from being shocked.
That's the way. Look. Either way, it's the same thing. You're saying I want it safe, but I want it safe.
Right. Wait, if I do this, will that make me a necrophiliac?
If we're going off of like original Frankenstein's monster, kind of.
Okay. So, oh wait, no, hold on a second. Victor was created and named after the scientist Victor von Gerdenheim. The professor passed away soon after. Victor became animated. Not knowing the professor was no longer alive, Victor came to the conclusion that the professor didn't approve of him. To solve his problems, Victor decided to leave the castle and show the world he was the strongest. Oh, that's it? Okay. He's like, I wasn't good enough for the professor, so I might as well just show off now.
He actually ends up becoming a guardian of the people. He becomes a defender. It's it's really nice by Darkstalkers 3.
Yeah.
Ass.
I kind of wish there was a new one, but
he wasn't wrong. Ass. Wait. Ass.
A lot of his moves have to do with his ass.
I didn't know that the ass was the key to the win, but you know what? Electric ass. There we go.
Yeah.
Just okay. Just don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. Ass, forehead, and pecs. Yep, there we go. That's what we wanted.
Look, if you want like a Bara-esque character, there you go.
There we go. All right, Shell, it's your turn.
Okay, best male character that I could think of. This is a very hard one. There's like so many really good characters. I like Zero. I like Proto Man. I like Ken. I like
You like the second fiddle in most of the Capcom games.
I see a theme of red here.
I see a theme.
I see a theme of red.
Of red characters that are considered the second person.
I like Miles Edgeworth. I like
Red.
I like Francisco von Karma.
Okay,
that's a female. That's female. Sorry.
There you go.
Okay. Well, we'll get to the female one in a moment. But
he keeps choosing the rival character in red.
I also like who else I like? There's just way too many cool characters that Capcom has. Other male characters I like. Okay, this one is not like this one's like the main character of their series, Arthur from the Ghost and Goblin series.
There you go.
So that's another one.
Yeah, he's the knight. He's the knight in shining armor.
But I like
literally goes through hell and back. Like, look, if you want to talk about husbandos, there you go.
That's the most loyal one.
I have major respect for him because of that fact that in order to finish his games, you have to beat the game twice for each game. So that's major respect for her character like him.
This place was only an illusion.
I mean, yeah, why not? But yeah. If I had to pick any of them, it's probably gonna be Ken.
Mr. Masters himself.
Of course, you want to be. I get it. The money, it's very important. I understand.
Yeah.
The money, I understand. It's okay. Listen, he's no longer. I don't think is he still taken by Eliza?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
But it's complicated.
I
don't want to say much because Street Fighter 6 spoilers for anyone that's still trying to go through like the World Tour mode, and some of the other modes. I still have to get the game because I've been watching people play it.
Honestly, you're gonna have so much fun. It's literally, I can say since I've played almost, if not all, the Street Fighter games, I have to say 6 is very fluid, very accessible because they have a simple and a modern mode for their like movesets.
Yes.
And it has a little bit of everything. It has the best from each iteration. The parry system is there. You have focus attacks in the form of drive impacts. And in 5, you have your V-trigger system, and it works similar to that. In the game, it's so fun. I love that game.
Yeah. Also, I'm just gonna say this right now. If we ever get any other characters coming back, I hope they never bring Sodom back.
Why?
Not a good Final Fight character. Give me. There was this one Final Fight character I do want back.
I want Poison back.
Yes, but let's go. Let's continue. Hito.
Favorite husbando character. I've already seen him naked. It's Frank West. Listen,
he's covered wars, you know.
Listen,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, come on. Like, look. look. Like, I've already seen him naked. Like, come on. Like,
What more do you want? What more could you want?
put him in wrestler's gear. Come on. Put him in the bikini.
Exhibit A. I just wanted to show you guys this picture of Frank West.
Exhibit like Frank West. Here we go. Look at. Come on. Would you not go out like I would go out like this if I could and I wouldn't get in trouble? Like, come on. I would totally. Frank West. Come on. But you can't hate on this. This is really good. But no, it's April. Should Frank West wear a bikini?
I'm honestly surprised that neither one of us had mentioned Leon. Leon Kennedy.
Believe it or not, I'm in the Chris Redfield
Thank you.
That's where I'm at. I'm definitely a Chris stan. I'm sorry. Listen.
I'm sorry. I don't do. Listen, Leon is cool and all, but Chris Redfield fills my Bara fantasies, as opposed to Leon filling many twinkish fantasies.
If I was to just go with my inner villain here, he's very vulnerable, Chris Redfield, if you think about it. Everybody around him dies. So, it could be one of those I can fix him type deals. That's what it would be like with me. Fucking Chris Redfield, the boulder punching man himself.
But yeah, it's between Frank West, but there's also one more there's one more husbando in Capcom that really, really grinds my gears a little bit. And it's Godot from the Ace Attorney series.
Honestly, that's a good choice too in itself. Hell yeah. Like,
legitimately, man talks in soliloquies and freaking narration. And I'm just like, yes, please. We could fix Godot, but he's already broken. And I'm like, this is sad. This is sad. Yeah. I miss things so much. So it's very, very much sad. Like, I hate the tragic backstory behind Godot, because to this day, this is why I still hate Dahlia Hawthorne. Fuck that bitch. She's still that. Fuck that bitch. Fuck Dahlia.
I hate this man. I hate this person because fuck that bitch. Best answer.
Best answer. It is, because listen, she had no reason to do half the shit she did. It was just, I want money. I'm like, okay, you're stupid. Like, you are stupid. She literally tried to fake her kidnapping with a gemstone, faked her, and literally, this is what happened. She got another man in death row because they said, "Oh, he pushed her down into the bridge." No. He didn't push her. He dropped the diamond that they were going to sell for $2 million, and she willingly jumped off the bridge to get the diamond.
That's dedication to the cause, but damn.
So, because of that, oh, you killed an officer's younger sister. You're going to jail. She literally jumped. Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like,
it's one of those officers. That's on her.
Basically, like, what do you want me to do? Like, she jumped. She literally made that choice. She was like, okay. And she didn't recover the diamond because, again, the place that they jumped had torrential waters. She almost died in the process, though. And then she goes in court a year later because her sister dies, and then is like, "My name is not Dahlia Hawthorne. It's Melissa Foster. How are you?" And then Mia put her in her place. Because
as Mia does.
as she should. Like,
oh yeah.
Definitely, like, as she should. She literally, she deserves it. So, Street Fighter, Ace Attorney, let's see, Street Fighter, Ace Attorney, Dead Rising, Beautiful Joe, Okami. These are games that we look into when it comes to Capcom, and they're all beautiful. All right.
There is another one that needs mention. There was an arcade game that came out in '89 that was a hit. It was on the Genesis. Anyone familiar with Strider?
Dude,
Yep.
my boy Hiryu, of course.
1942.
Oh yeah, 1942. Those shmups. Yeah.
That will definitely do the thing for us. But not many people played those games. What? Those games are still relevant, right? I mean, no.
Speaking of
They could
Strider, did you know that he had an actual debut in a manga a year before the game came out?
Yes,
Yes.
he did.
Dudes, I read it. It was super good.
The manga is apparently it was later adapted to the NES game, which is different from the arcade game.
I never got to play the arcade one.
It's a sad day for everyone.
Yeah, the arcade one you could play if you have Capcom Arcade Stadium, you could play it there on any platform.
That's right. They did do the arcade stadium.
Tisby
Yes.
facts. All right. So here comes the next question. We talked about Capcom husbandos. Now we're going to talk about Capcom waifus.
Okay.
And there are many.
There are many. All right. Who wants to start it off?
Let's see.
I'm sitting here and there are so like I said, there's so many.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot.
Christ.
Do you want to look through the waifu list? Is that what this is?
I mean,
I got some picks.
I have a couple as well.
I heard something. I heard something else when you said that. It sounded like you said something else. Oh God, my brain.
No.
I won't.
Not today, brain. Not today.
But come on. Because
Again, it is your show.
I know you said I got some picks, but it literally sounded like I got some dicks. I'm like, you should have.
It's your show.
You should maybe, perhaps.
My whole realm I'm sitting here in is all the fighting game characters that there are. There are way too many waifus, man.
Yeah.
There are way too many.
To be fair,
It's like Baskin Robbins.
it's like,
Yeah.
why would we look at the waifu list when we could be looking at Frank West in a bikini? That's fair. You know what? Let's go back to that picture, shall we? Shall we just see Frank West in the bikini? It's very important. Wow, hold on. Hello, you're not Frank West. You're not Frank West. Here we go. There you go. There you go. In a bikini. Have fun. Majestic. All right, so favorite waifu.
If I had to go with another one, I'm gonna stick to the theme of Darkstalkers with husbandos and waifus because that's one of my most favorite fighting games of all time. Definitely Hisenko. You were talking about, does that make me a necrophiliac if I like Victor?
It does.
You know, technically, Lele is a Jiangshi, which is like the Chinese rendition of a vampire.
Yeah. Listen, you can't. She's a Jiangxi. She's a puppet, basically. She's a zombie puppet. The talisman on her forehead gets the better of her. And the only reason why I know this so well is because I'm a big Shaman King fan, and I look over June and Ba Sing. So, I know this very well. I know the whole concept of bringing an army alive in China, even if they're dead. But here's your daily Hisenko, where the arms are bigger than the body.
Well, her arms are normal. It's just that she has those super long sleeves, and inside those sleeves are just like a fuck ton of weapons.
Yo, you ever need storage? Just shove it in her sleeves. Hey, Hisenko, can you hold this mini tripod in your sleeves?
Got it.
The sleeves that go places. Although she's close to one of my favorite characters in Darkstalkers, but I'm tied between Felicia and BB Hood. But BB's freaking crazy.
BB was a meta definer, believe it or not, back in the day. And specifically 2. In 3, she's still amazing, but in 2, she had, I think, 2 infinites?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. They were like very like high skill ceiling, so like they took a lot of execution, but they were very much doable.
And I mastered them. That took a while.
You monster.
I mastered them at the age of 8, and then I put my skills to the test in the arcades. And
you monster.
they're like, there's no way there's no way this 8-year-old learned BB. Oh, fuck. I'm like, I learned Little Red Riding Hood. That's not her name. Might as well be. But yeah. So Hisenko is yours.
Yep. And I definitely made her in Darkstalkers 2 and 3.
I use her in Marvel vs. Capcom, and I also use her in Puzzle Fighter.
Same. She's the exact same character I use. Her and Dan, just because I like to meme.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Who would be mine? There's a lot of really cool characters. There's a lot of fighting game characters.
We could talk multiples because we've just been listing off a whole bunch of them at this point.
I've already mentioned the Phoenix Wright character, Francisco von Karma. That's mine. I also like Maya Fey.
Wait, Maya or Mia?
Maya, the younger sister that hangs out with Phoenix.
Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here.
I also like, who else do I like? Well, Morrigan from the Darkstalker series.
I'm definitely seeing a pattern here.
All right, I like Felicia. I like Chun-Li, Cammy, Sakura. BB Hood is another one that's really cool.
You know that they're almost all the same age, right? They're the same age range.
Jill Valentine.
Okay, there we go.
And the next one is just like, the next answer will surprise you.
There's just so many really cool female characters from the Capcom side. It's just hard to make a big list or just pick one.
All right, so I'm gonna bring up 2 because we needed some spicy Hispanic representation here, and we got Isabella from Dead Rising.
Ooh, Isabella, let's go.
Like, I loved Isabella. She was really good. Especially the way that she was just like, she was mostly self-sacrificing for a lot of the things going, but Isabella definitely like tickled my fart box on that one. Like, she was great.
That's one way to put it. Yeah. That's a way to put it.
But no, she was great. I just hated the fact that when she got infected and had to deal with the whole thing, like, oh, we saved her, but her brother's being a dick right now, and I'm about to literally blow up his truck. I'm gonna blow up his motorcycle. I'm gonna charge him his boss. No, don't kill my brother. I'm like, I'm going to kill him. Mi familia. I'm like, I'm gonna kill him.
I just want to talk to him.
I just want to talk to him. But no, it's not like, it's more like, no, I just want to talk to him. Full force, motorcycle, gun. My second one is Sylvia from Beautiful Joe.
From Beautiful Joe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sylvia.
Like, mind you, I hate the fact, because mind you, she was like, I'll play the role of damsel of distress, but then I want a sequel and I want to fucking fight. And fight she did. I hate the fact that we got a Beautiful Joe anime in the US and we never fucking finished it.
We only got we got near the end of season 1, if I remember correctly.
No, we got the whole season 1, and then after that, season 2 was when we finally see Sylvia using her transformation watch, and Junior finally gets freaking the yo-yos and actually is transforming and not wearing a fake-ass uniform.
As a kid, when I played Red Hot Rumble for the first time and I saw Junior actually transformed, I'm like, where was this in the anime? And then, lo and behold, so there's a whole other season we didn't get a Beautiful Joe.
That didn't translate. I got to see the whole thing in the Japanese sub, thank goodness.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Agreed.
Like, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, I need to see this episode. I need to see what's going on. And then we just find out everything is just a set. it's not really that big a deal. Everything is staged. And I'm like, okay, cool.
How nice.
I wish I knew this, but we're in danger. No, it's staged. You're just being dramatic. Relax. So, I have some good news at the very least. There is a game series that I will be playing on stream at some point, which will be both Beautiful Joes 1 and 2. Yep. Since I have the hard copies.
Good stuff, man. I recently played Beautiful Joe 1. I played it on adults because I haven't played it in years.
Henshin a go-go, baby.
I actually played Beautiful Joe 1 last year. And it was actually the first time I've beaten it. Because when I played the game years ago, I didn't get too far, but I did watch my brother beat the game. But then, like, eventually, like, last year, I played it, beat it. Eventually, I'll play 2 and Double Trouble. I regret never buying 2 for GameCube, but I own 1 and I also own Double Trouble for the DS.
Double Trouble was all right. It wasn't so bad, but it was really out of place in the timeline.
It was a little too, for me personally, I'm okay with where it is story-wise. I just didn't like that it was a little too dependent on the touch controls.
Yeah.
That kind of like messed it for me, honestly.
Yeah, like I mainly like I mainly got it because I wanted one of my first games on the DS to be from Capcom, and it ended up being that. Although because at the time I didn't think we got the first Ace Attorney until like a few months later, when the DS was still like a popular console.
So the funny story about that. So Japan had Ace Attorney since 2001.
Yeah, Game Boy Advance, like three games, and then when they decided to port them to the DS, and that was when they started to get localized.
Mm-hmm. And also when they ported the first one for the DS, we got Rise of the Phoenix. So that was the extra case that they added, and this was around the time that they were supposed to be preparing for Apollo Justice, which is why you see the animations for doing all the science forensics-y stuff in that first game, because that was to prepare you for the fourth game, which was Apollo Justice. Which favorite Ace Attorney is Apollo Justice for me, and it will always be. And now that
we're gonna get the collection,
and now that collection's coming out, you'll see why I like Apollo. Many people turned against Apollo because he goes against Athena in one of the cases. And I'm like, listen, he had every right to shut your mouth. Anyway, like I got so tired. Like, everyone's like, you like Apollo? Ew. You know he's a sad sack of shit and went against Athena. I'm like, go fuck yourself. He had a reason. It's in the characterization.
Yeah. The other thing also is, like the only games in the series I played so far are the first 3, but I will now, like, once this collection comes out, I'm gonna change that and play the other games.
Did you play Great Ace Attorney?
Not yet. But at this point, I'm probably just gonna do Apollo Justice next, because I've never got a chance to play those. Now, hopefully this means that if this does well, that not only that they'll do Ace Attorney 7, but they do both of the Miles Edgeworth games.
I would love for them to like port the English dub for Investigations 2, because we only got 1 in the US. We only got the first Investigations. So I would love to get the second one, because that's the one that goes. So, because for those of you who don't know, Miles Edgeworth has his own games, and they actually coexist with the timeline of Ace Attorneys 2, 3, and 4. They coexist really well together, including the fact that we get a reappearance of Shelly the Killer in the second game. Yeah, you know, the one that actually kidnapped Maya and locked her in a cellar for 3 days.
Oh, man.
There was also a crossover with the Professor Layton series for the 3DS.
Which I loved it, I beat it, and I cried. You will cry too, Shell, if you ever play and get up to a certain part.
Yeah. But yeah, like, that's the Ace Attorney series.
Alright, so now next thing is we got to talk about is favorite series that is not a fighting game in Capcom.
Mega Man.
Battle Network specifically for me.
For me, like, it's mainly the classic series and the X series.
It's for me, it is Battle Network. I love Star Force.
I love Star
Unpopular
Force.
opinion.
No, I love
And
Star
Classic,
Force.
of course. Those three are my faves.
So, to go into the Mega Man series a little bit, it pisses me off on the fact when people are like, why do you like Star Force so much? It's so stupid. I'm like, no, I relate with the main character, so you can go fuck with yourself.
It's so... When it comes to character development, Star Force is way better than Battle Network, in my opinion,
Because
personally.
Lan is just hyperactive and doesn't want to do homework and likes to eat. That's it. That's all I get from Lan. When it comes to GeoCellar, it's... My dad may be dead and I'm depressed and don't want to go to school, but these kids won't leave me the fuck alone and they keep trying to drag me into school. You know what? I met this alien. He's getting me out of my shell. Okay, I might actually give these annoying fucking kids a chance. Okay, I might give school a chance. Oh, look, I made a friend. Oh, wait, plot. I'm a little depressed now because this friend kind of betrayed me.
That's basically the whole plot.
Oh wait, my
really
dad is probably alive or something. Oh wait, he is. End of first game.
That is such a like TLDR version of it, but for anybody who hasn't played it and is interested, I highly recommend it.
There's also
highly recommend
there's
it.
also girl alien cross fusion between Sonya and Harp Note.
Yep.
Which I prefer. Here's the thing. I actually like Sonya over Roll a little bit sometimes.
Oh, easily.
So many people are like, how could you say that? I'm like, I love Roll, okay? I'm not saying I hate her, but if you're gonna do a love interest, make sure the love interest is actually doing shit. In the anime, half the time she's not doing shit. The only time Roll has done... Well, okay, whoa. I can't really say Roll doesn't do shit in the Battle Network series because you get her chip.
Yeah, because honestly, Roll kicks ass in the anime.
But in the anime, here's the thing. They didn't showcase how powerful Roll is unless you watch the Japanese version.
Yep.
Where she actually can cross-fuse with Roll. Meilu can actually cross-fuse with Roll. And get shit done by using Rush as a cross-fusion chip that somehow works with her ability because she can't use a regular cross chip.
Speaking of Rush, I like what they did with Rush in Battle Network specifically for the anime. Like, because in the game, it's just a battle chip.
Yeah.
But that's a big deep dive in the Mega Man series that we went over. We don't talk about Legends. Because
we don't talk about Legends.
No. I said what I said. You want to know why? They did Legends 3 dirty, and that's where I go on that one, okay? It's the fans' fault that Legends 3 didn't come out.
I'm so salty about that.
The fuck you mean it was the fans' fault? We wanted Legends 3.
I'm pretty sure that person who said that, he was from Europe. He apparently... I'm pretty sure he doesn't work for Capcom anymore.
Good. Don't be misrepresenting us. We wanted 3, goddammit.
Because here's the thing. I do want to bring up something before we move on to the next topic. See, Capcom had a bit of a slump from right around the early to mid Xbox 360, PS3 generation, and it lasted all the way up until when they released Resident Evil 7. That was when they actually got out of that slump. And especially when Keiji Inafune used to work for Capcom, and he used to talk so much shit about Japanese games at the time because they were saying how they're behind and the Western companies were ways ahead during that era. So they were trying to make these games, there was Remember Me, there was the Lost Planet series. It's also how we got Dead Rising, mind you,
which was one of the best games out of that era.
And also there was a reboot of Bionic Commando that flopped, and there was a new original IP called Dark Void, which was also a flop. There was so many flops that Capcom had that generation, and what really hit them hard was when Street Fighter V came out, and it was a bare bones launch.
So
on top of being PlayStation exclusive, that really did like hinder because these polls shown for Street Fighter 4, there were way more Xbox players than there were PlayStation. So they literally closed off a whole big section of their fan base.
exactly.
To be fair, at that time, Capcom was actually struggling. It was kind of like a situation with like how the whole Bayonetta series with Nintendo, and that without Nintendo funding it, Bayonetta 2 and 3 would not exist. Same thing here for Street Fighter 5, and also same thing for Dead Rising 3 because Microsoft funded that game.
Yep. All right. So now we're gonna go into the next question.
Yeah.
Next question: which Capcom series that we have not spoke about comes to mind?
That we haven't spoken about.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've already brought Strider up, so not that, but I will bring up another thing. I'm gonna bring up Power Stone.
Power Stone 1 and 2 on the Dreamcast. Yes.
Those games, whether if you play it on arcade or Dreamcast, they were a lot of fun, especially 2, when you could play with 4, like a total of 4 players. That game is fun.
It's definitely like a party game that you would want to play.
Definitely.
Power Stone, like people talk about how they want Darkstalkers back. Like, as much as I do, I want Power Stone more than I want Darkstalkers. You know what else I want more than Darkstalkers? I want Rival Schools back as well.
Yes. There hasn't been a Rival School since Project Justice.
Yeah, it was just those 2 games. That's
And
it.
even then, we got like a neutered version of Project Justice. There was a whole other mode that was honestly a very big time sink that Japan got that we didn't, and it would have given the game so much more like life, especially because it had like a character creator. You can choose custom moves. It was like a board game-esque type. It was kind of like Mario Party but for fighting games. That's a really good way of putting it.
Missed opportunity right there.
Mm-hmm. They didn't think that the whole board game aspect would catch on in America because it was not the fighting part to it, but it definitely would have.
It was around the time where Mario Party was actually gaining momentum, so they could have at least look at that and be like, if that's working, maybe we should bring this over here too. And then if Capcom would have brought that for Rival Schools for Project Justice here, that would have worked.
That would have been easy bank.
Yep.
For sure. Easy bank.
So, a series that we have not brought up yet. We haven't spoken about the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah.
And that is another huge one.
Yep.
That is another huge one.
Yeah.
Except for 2, because 2 sucked.
Yeah. I played it once, never play it again. But I'm hoping to play Devil May Cry 3 soon. But and everything else. Though I know there's a whole divide on the reboots, DMC Devil May Cry, which he calls himself Dante.
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 when you should be Dante, but you don't.
Unpopular opinion again, I liked it. I liked it for what it was. I don't consider just if you take the Devil May Cry name off of it,
it's its
and
own
you just
good game.
change key names, it's an amazing hack and slash.
Yeah, but that studio that made that game now like they're known for the Hellblade games on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but Devil May Cry 5 I heard was like a return to form.
I've yet to play it. I have I think it's called the Ultimate Edition that has all the DLCs for it. I feel like I should really sit down one day and play the hell out of it. I should.
Oh yeah.
But all together, Devil May Cry is another series we haven't been talked about. There is another one in my brain, which is the Onimusha series.
Yeah, I've only played and beaten the first one. But it's good.
I agreed. I've only beaten the first one, and Tatsunoko versus Capcom really made me not like Soki.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was a pain to deal with in that game.
I loved Tatsunoko versus Capcom because I got to play as some weird characters that I didn't know, which I found out was like having a Marvel, but in Japan.
It literally was like Marvel. It's like Japanese animes versus Capcom.
Right?
And Tatsunoko is surprisingly still huge.
Yep.
I didn't know this.
There is one more I want to bring up, but it's only one game, so not really a series, and it's an arcade game that did get ported, and it's also on the arcade stadium. And he was in Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, and that is Captain Commando.
I missed that game. I had it on, I believe it was Sega, no, not Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. I think the Captain Commando game was on. Yes. Man. I definitely liked Captain Mummy. He was my favorite.
I kind of like it more than Final Fight.
Easily, agreed. As much as Final Fight is like known for being one of the pioneers of beat 'em up games, it's very simplistic, is a good way of putting it. I liked Captain Commando, especially because of the aesthetic. But yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say on that.
I feel like Captain Commando to me should have been like it's what Final Fight 2 should actually be.
All right.
It gives me sorry about that.
So,
it gives me vibes of, if you've ever played Captain America and the Avengers, the beat 'em up on the Super Nintendo, it gives me vibes like that, and that's what I feel like a sequel for Captain Commando could feel like as well. A mixture of that and Final Fight 2.
May I suggest a game called Battle Circuits? Also
I have not played it. I've seen it. It looks fun. It looks so fun.
Yeah. All right. Continue. So, Hito?
So, this goes to my next question. What is your favorite Capcom crossover?
Capcom crossover.
Mm-hmm. It's basically when Capcom crossed over into another series. And I'm going to bring up my first answer for this one. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
Here we go.
Project X Zone.
Yes.
I was considering saying that one. I really was.
I still had to play part. Well, I started part 2, but I gotta finish part 2. Crossover. Well, my childhood and my teen years consisted of me playing the Marvel vs. Capcom series. So, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and also Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, with an honorable mention of Capcom vs. SNK 2.
That's what I was gonna say. Actually, I was gonna bring up that one specifically.
They're good. They're very good.
They're like when it comes to crossovers, the first thing that does come to mind for Capcom is fighting games.
Yep.
Yeah.
As far as I've seen. And for crossover games, aside from that one, it's a recent one, and it's still like on mobile. Teppen. Yeah, they have a mobile game that's like a card game battle. It's like a card fighting game called Teppen.
No relation to Tekken, by the way.
Yeah, none at all. None at all. But I played it for about a couple of months, but it was at a time where I was big into other gachas at the time, so I couldn't really invest into it. It is actually very fun. You know, of course, if you have the time for it.
Yeah, of course. But so here's a big crossover that goes into play. They cross over. There's a few crossovers we could go into. For example, one big crossover is Devil May Cry in Beautiful Joe, where Alistair actually uses, well, Dante's sword.
The Rebellion.
So the Rebellion is a crossover weapon between both Devil May Cry and Beautiful Joe.
Yeah.
And then, along with that, that's why Dante is also a playable character in the PSP version of the situation. And one of the best execution paybacks was just him in the dirt where the mountain range is. You just drop literally everything that goes on. You just do that.
Yeah.
Another crossover that happens in between is the Mega Man Battle Network and Star Force's amazing go-to on that one, which is great as well. Like the whole little event that's supposed to happen. Hello?
It's
Yeah.
it definitely was it was really quick and it was early on in the game, but it gave you one of the best early game weapons. Even though it did 1 damage, the charge was decent at, even if it was only at 1, because of how fast the rapid was.
Yep.
It honestly like broke the game early on. So if you had the crossover like the BN Buster, you definitely like you swept the early game. Another really good crossover, not many people know about it, called Cannon Spike.
I've actually heard of
Yeah,
Cannon
I've heard it on the
Spike.
Dreamcast. It's
Yeah, that was a Dreamcast game.
it's a very much more like edgier, grittier, top-down shooter, like a twin stick almost. Very fun. Very like it definitely has like the arcade shooter feel.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And Mega Man
there were
made an
some
appearance. And so did Cammy.
Mega Man did, and Arthur,
And Arthur. And Charlie.
and our
Man.
BB Hood as well. And I think it had what 3 original characters.
Sheba being one of them. Yep, there's BB Hood right there. Look at her. Happy as can be.
There was a crossover that was planned, but it got canceled. It was a game called Capcom Fighting All-Stars, which was going to be like a 2.5D fighting game with multiple characters, like mostly like a bunch of characters people recognize, and then there was going to be like 4 original characters. One of those would appear in like a different game called Capcom Fighting Evolution, which is one of the
Ingrid,
worst
right?
fighting games ever.
Yep.
Yeah, Ingrid.
I really like Ingrid, like visually, aesthetically. She's literally like, she's old as fuck, but she doesn't look it at all.
Yeah. But apparently the FGC hates her
Really?
because they don't know any better.
Too little, too late. Especially because they put her in in Fighting Evolution of all games.
And they put her
Exactly.
in the PSP version of Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they did. And they did so many weird crossovers that people thought that they could just cross over anything. Someone made a meme years ago where it was Kellogg's versus Capcom, New Age of Breakfast.
Kellogg's versus Capcom.
It was a
I
meme.
love it. I love it.
Yep, because people just like, oh, Capcom could just cross over with anything.
I mean, they technically have gotten away with it for years, but that's what happens there.
Yeah.
All right, but like I said, I wanted to talk about Project X Zone a little bit more because it had basically a majority of Capcom's library in there with Namco, and I found it funny. I still to this day find this joke funny where Maya and Phoenix bump into M. Bison, and Bison's like, "I will destroy you all," and Maya just innocently says, "His chin looks like a butt." Just says it very kindly. I'm like, oh god, hold on. Maya Faye, M. Bison.
Because like technically there were 3 games because the first game was called Namco X Capcom for PS2 and it never left Japan. Then you have Project Cross Zone, which added Sega characters. And then the second game adds a few characters that Nintendo owns. Like they have some Fire Emblem and Xenoblade characters.
So I'll make this clear. Always have someone like Maya in your corner because then you could just start fights for no reason. Just his chin looks like a butt. She says without realizing that she probably has probably screwed him over, not caring at all.
Yeah. Like I know one of the games they paired Dimitri from Darkstalkers with Dante.
Yep.
I forgot which one it was. I don't know if it was 2 or 3. No, not like Project Cross Zone 1 or 2, but yeah.
I think it was X Zone 2.
I was hoping they would make a Cross Zone 3 for Switch, but
Yep.
no. The games did not sell that well, neither one of them. I'm surprised they even made a second one.
Yep.
And it's a shame because it's honestly it's a really good game.
Yeah. I have them both, but yeah.
Yep. But there's quite a few. Wait, what?
Oh, I was gonna say, I think they're Capcom, There's a in X Zone.
Mhm.
There is a team specifically made up, I believe, of 3 characters from a game called Resonance of Fate.
Yep.
That's Sega.
Oh,
Sega.
it is?
Yep, that is Sega.
That's Sega.
Huh.
Yeah.
I remember them being in Cross Zone. That's why I bring them up.
Yeah, because they have a lot of cool characters from Capcom, Sega, and Bandai Namco in those games.
The more you know.
more you
I
know.
thought they were Capcom this whole time.
It was like you would have because like one of the main draws was having like Street Fighter, Virtual Fighter, and Tekken all together in the same game. But you also have Mega Man X and Zero as in the game, which was one of the things that drew me in there too. I know Frank West was in the first one, and I think he had Shenko. Like Senko was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They had some pretty cool teams, as well as like the solo characters that you can control. I thought that like it was really good.
It's definitely a good one right there. So we've gone into waifus, we've gone into husbandos, we've gotten into game series, we've gotten into forgotten game series. Now here's the thing now here's the good question: which style of play, which game from Capcom, which style of play invoked basically your gameplay very well? In other words, what game basically made you be able to control other games with these Capcom games? Example, I used to be very good at Beautiful Joe. I ended up getting well at games like Super Mario Bros. And Braid when I was trying it out.
It really is simple with Capcom. Like for me, it was definitely fighting games because they require like pinpoint accuracy, timing, and all those things, and that does implement to a lot of other games. Like if you were to play like a platformer and such, like like timing certain jumps, like depending on like determining what kind of height for your jump you need. Like let's say like New Super Mario Brothers, for example.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like there are some really tight jumps in that game. For one of them, especially in like the harder like worlds, like World 7 and 8. But fighting games, things like that, hand-eye coordination, those kinds of things mattered. And a really weird one for me that fighting game helped me out with is Tetris. As weird as that sounds.
I would probably say Tetris actually was the other way around for me, getting me more like in depth with fighting games. But
yeah, it kind of works like a two-way street almost.
yeah.
Let's see, Capcom game that basically helped me out a little bit. So I have to say, and I always will have to say this one, but yeah, as much as I don't play the Resident Evil series, that's probably one that I'm not playing much of lately. When it comes to Capcom, the Ace Attorney series is seriously something that I go by, because now it helps me predict visual novels a lot more and understand what's coming on, or catching contradictions. I found myself catching contradictions a lot more easily right after I played Ace Attorney.
Yep.
It can also definitely implement into like writing and whatnot.
Yep.
And I really like that about like narrative stories like that.
Oh yeah, like the storytelling, just all the characters, the worlds, and everything. Let's see. As far as games that led me to be more like how you say it, Hito?
What do you mean?
Like the question.
Oh, which games gameplay has become fundamentals for you to play in other games?
Well, for Capcom specifically, like obviously I'm gonna go back to Mega Man, like because platformers, although like growing up with like Mario and Sonic and then getting into Mega Man helps with my perception of how I actually handle platformers and running guns, which platformers will lead me to fighting games like Street Fighter, and then you have fighting games that lead me to beat 'em ups, like if I want to play Final Fight or like Captain Commando, anything that Capcom makes.
Yep.
Going to that to the action games, like just like Devil May Cry, just going from one to another, basically bouncing around, and then being able to have control of the type of characters I use, how I actually manage to use them in gameplay and combat. Hell, even going into like visual novels, playing the Ace Attorney series, understanding the character, like giving me a reason why I should care about this character or that character, or why this character sucks, why is he, she, they are a problem, and what can I do about it to solve that problem? So, something like
Absolutely
that.
nothing.
But
just watch.
My point is just going around from one game genre to another. Mega Man actually is one of those that helped me bridge the gap between multiple like genres from one to another, leading me to Street Fighter and all that, and so on and so forth. Like, so for me, it's kind of loaded in trying to figure out my answer, but that's pretty much all I can really say.
I got
I
you.
did agree that it is. I do agree it is a very like open-ended question, but that's what I like about it because it allows you to just like you can almost segue from one into another, and it's definitely like a topic opener.
All right,
very good question.
Now, here comes a question that I've been waiting for. Favorite rival in a Capcom game?
Favorite rival?
Favorite rival?
For me, it's Waka from Okami. The reason why is because aside from being your rival, they're also the prophet who you get a lot of assistance from. They sound like they're like bullshitting half of the time, but they end up being correct in the long run. At the same time, like you do battle them over and over in the game, they end up being a very integral part of like the climax for Okami. And yeah, they're there throughout the whole journey from beginning to end pretty much.
Okay.
Let's see. Favorite rival. Well, I'm gonna have to say this character again. Ken Masters. Like he's Ryu's rival.
Okay.
Yeah, originally the palette swap. I love how he went from being just a red palette swap to having his whole entire own identity. He plays differently. It goes to show he's come a very long way from Street Fighter 1.
And it was one of those things where it was a gradual process. Like from when Street Fighter 2 came out, yes, they were palette swaps there, but as the games would go on, it would get to a point where you see a slow separation of Ryu and Ken. Ryu's Hadokens and the Tatsumakis were very strong, but Ken perfected the Shoryuken. And then you would see their personalities. Ryu was more like stoic and serious, and Ken was the cool one, always loving to go out in fights and having fun fighting. That's pretty much what eventually separating the two of them from each other.
I totally buy that one. My rival in this game is specifically like, okay, I'm trying to remember it because shit. I had the character in my brain for a second and then it just disappeared. I'm like, wait a minute. I know the answer. Oh, here we go. One of my favorite rivals is Alistair. Alistair from Beautiful Joe. Because he's not, like, mind you, he works with the villains in the very first one, but the thing is, it's kind of like he's not working with the villains, he's kind of like challenging you. He's just kind of focused on doing that type of thing.
Are you talking about the guy who pretended to be Beautiful Joe?
Yes.
Oh, that fight
Alistair.
sucked when I had a hard time fighting against him.
And the thing is, Capcom helped out with the anime for the Beautiful Joe series, so they gave Alistair a lot more personality when it came to it, and I appreciate that they did that because Alistair kind of becomes a flat character if he's just like an impersonation of Joe, but Alistair's his own character. He's the purple one that uses Dante's sword, by the way.
Yep.
I love in the games they kind of make him almost like whiny because he's like not as prevalent in the story as he would like to be.
Yep.
But then in the anime, he's much more like stoic and like cool and whatnot. I remember that in the anime. Very big difference from the game.
Mm-hmm. All right. So there's one game that we didn't discuss.
All right.
Breath of Fire.
I and will admit I have not played a single game in that series, but it is on my radar.
All right.
I played it so long ago, honestly. I'm definitely not a turn-based RPG guy, depending on what it is. But I did play Breath of Fire. I think it was 3 or 4 that was on the Super Nintendo. One of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first Breath of Fire game was for the PS2. It was Dragon Quarters.
Oh, that one.
And everyone's like, that one sucks. Why would you say that's your favorite one? Because I'm biased and it was my first one that got me into the series. So, there you go. So learning, basically doing the drive skill and finding out that was basically a ticking time bomb for the game over to happen was kind of worrisome, but it worked. It was an interesting way to play the game. It was a very interesting way because it's like, oh, your character's a time bomb, and you know, at this point, if you don't clear the game at a certain time, or you use the time bomb essentially to like go up and and raise your meter up, and you hit 100, you may actually just die in the game, and that's it. I'm like, oh, so I'm working with basically a time limit / a time bomb. Got it. I understand. Another series that we didn't talk about was Dino Crisis for the PlayStation 1.
I've actually played the first one for the first time last year, during Halloween, like the Halloween month of October, and it's the first one was just basically Resident Evil, like the tank controls with dinosaurs.
Resident Evil, but dinosaurs.
I plan to play the second one soon, and people say that one's better, but I've heard 3 was kind of eh. Haven't played 3, so I can't really say, but that's what I've heard.
Hey, that's what happens, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So this is gonna be a little bit of a question. Do you think, which one do you personally think Capcom makes better? Action adventure games, platformers, or fighters?
Good question.
Early on, I definitely they were really good with platformers, as shown with Mega Man. I feel nowadays, personally, it has to be between actions and, because you have Devil May Cry 5 and whatnot that came out recently, and fighting games. I feel they have a lot of IPs they can do a lot with, and they don't do much. Honestly,
when are we getting another Beautiful Joe game? Never, because Clover Studio's gone. And like, damn it, it's the custom robo. It's the custom robo argument I keep having. When are we gonna get another custom robo game for the Switch? Noise is gone.
Well, if Capcom could bring the Ghost and Goblin series back, they could pretty much bring anything back.
Exactly.
Yeah, they did bring it back with Resurrection. That game is so hard.
Which, by the way,
it's really good.
That game is fun as fuck, though.
Which, by the way, things are happening now.
Halloween?
Ta-da!
Oh, we got the tier list.
Haha, alrighty.
Now, this is a very limited list, but I think we'll be fine. So, first off, we're going to start by picking our S's that will automatically go in there. So, B, Shell, and myself have S games that we could put there automatically. So, first one I offer to put their S game is B.
Definitely Street Fighter, because fighting games would not exist without Street Fighter.
Agreed.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
That's all I have to say on it.
Shell, what is your S?
Mega Man. Sure, I know, it got to a point where the series ended up just getting a bit stagnated, because in the 2000s, the Mega Man series, there was just a lot of them. And then after Mega Man 10, it just stopped until Mega Man 11 came out 5 years ago. So the Blue Bomber is definitely someone that should stick around for years.
Definitely. Let's see. So my S is gonna go to Ace Attorney.
I also agree with that.
The characters are great. Everything is great. Everything doesn't suck. I learned about the game, and honestly, so here's a story about Ace Attorney. When I first started playing the games, I just graduated my junior year of high school, and I found the first Ace Attorney game wrapped up in a random gaming store. There was like 15 copies of this game, and people were like, "Oh, that game has been on our shelf for like at least 7 years. You could take it." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I'll only charge you $5 for it. Here you go." I'm like,
That's a steal.
"Holy crap, are you serious?" And they're like, "Yeah, take it." So I got the game. I enjoyed it. I did all kinds of things. I thought it might have multiple endings when I first started. Clearly, it did not. So that was interesting. But then the second I realized that this game had more sequels, and I didn't know that. So my whole summer during that time was in Florida. I beat Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney when I was with my dad, and then when I came back to New York, I was like, okay, I gotta find these other 2 games and where I can find them. What am I gonna do? So I ended up finding out that you could play the second and third game on your Wii with the WiiWare. And I ended up buying both of those off of the WiiWare, and I started playing 2 and 3. And I beat 2 and 3 in the same month at the same time, which was great. And then I got into Apollo Justice, because this was when Apollo Justice came out as well. I beat Apollo Justice, ending it in that very, very obscure ending of bringing back the jury duty. And then I just found out Ace Attorney Investigations just came out that year. And I ended up beating Miles Edgeworth's game very quickly in basically 3 days.
Good stuff.
So I basically dominated the Ace Attorney series. It definitely has like a special thing in my heart, at least. So I love me the Ace Attorney series, and I have to give it an S where it belongs.
Yeah, I the Ace Attorney series is absolutely really good. I just got to play the rest of them now that we're getting more collections.
Definitely play that collection.
For anybody who's into like detective stuff, like narrative-driven stories and whatnot, definitely the Ace Attorney series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, now we do the rest of the list. Ta-da-ding! All right, starting with S tier. I mean, not S tier. Starting with Ghouls and Goblins.
I definitely feel like it's B tier. The reason why I say B tier is because it's been the same formula, and yet, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to innovate what it is without losing the essence of like Ghosts and Goblins itself.
Yep.
Like the only thing I can think of is the spin-offs that have to do with Firebrand, like Demon's Quest and Demon's Crest.
I love Demon's Crest.
Demon's Crest is fantastic.
It's an amazing, amazing platformer, and it definitely had like it had a world feel to it, and that's what I loved about that game.
Definitely,
and it wasn't easy.
It definitely was.
But,
I was enjoying Demon's Crest a lot more.
But I do feel like Ghouls and Ghosts is like B tier at most.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because I was personally going to say A, but if you guys want to go B, I'll go with you.
2 B's and an A's makes 2 B's and an A make Bab, and now it goes to B.
But it should be on a higher level B, though. At least
We'll determine
high level.
We'll determine that. We'll determine that once we have all of the stuff on the board. Only because of the fact that it's the only one on its sector.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is the Resident Evil series.
Well, the Resident Evil series has been very inconsistent for so many years, and then it recently got back on track with 7 and The Village, as well as the remakes.
Yep.
But some of the earlier games don't hold up well. Like Resident Evil 1 has a lot of laughably like memeable like quotes, like the whole Jill sandwich thing.
Like, why do you think they actually remade the game shell? Why do you think they're remaking the games?
Yeah. But I will say though that with its inconsistencies, I'm probably gonna have to put it in B.
Okay.
For me, believe it or not, I think it's A tier. The reason why I say A tier is because it has a lot of monumental moments, like we said before, the resurgence of Capcom with Resident Evil 7, and with Resident Evil 8, we can't put aside the fact that Resident Evil 4 was like one of the best games of its time, like one of the absolute best games of that era.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one.
It has very memorable characters. And if you ask the diehard fans, you definitely run into one because everybody like has a favorite. Everybody has played a Resident Evil, even if it isn't a mainline one.
yeah, exactly.
So I feel like A tier is a good spot for it.
I can agree with A tier because I was one of those people who picked up a random Resident Evil game and I was just able to dive right in. That was Operation Raccoon City. It had nothing to do with the original characters like Leon, Jill, and Chris Redfield, but I definitely had a good time with it. So I will put it in A.
Okay.
So 2 A's and a B make an A. So there we go. I said 2 B's or 2 A's and a B make. Okay, there we go.
2 A's and a B. Yeah.
I said what I said. Okay, cool. Next up is Devil May Cry.
I only played 2 games in the series, but I will say Devil May Cry 1 is really good, but 2 sucks. That said, everything else after 2 is just really good. So I'm gonna have to put it on A.
All right. B.
For me, my introduction to Devil May Cry was actually Beautiful Joe on the PlayStation. So I played a little bit of the reboot. I want to play 5. The earlier Devil May Cries really weren't that interesting to me, admittedly, but I'm not very big on hack and slashes as is. So I feel like I have less of an opinion there because of that fact. I'm very much more like a beat 'em up person over hack and slashes, which there is a debate that they're the same thing, just one uses swords and one doesn't.
Yep.
It's just the feel for them for me. But if I had to put it somewhere, I guess I would put it in B tier.
So okay. So for me it's a C tier. And understand my reasoning why. So we got the first game. It was a little finicky and shaky. Camera controls weren't that great, and that's fine. And then you also have the second game that literally shit the bed. And we're talking seriously shit the bed. The third game was a little mediocre. And then 4 came out. And then 5 came out, and then that remake came out. And all I got from the stuff was blah. So when that happened, that's kind of why I consider Devil May Cry to be a C tier, because it has flopped many times at this point, and it's not really that well known at this point anymore. It's only well known because of Dante. That's it. And that's the only thing that was really like carrying up. Besides Dante and Virgil, that's it.
Yeah, that is very fair to say, honestly.
So let's see. B, C, and what did you say it was, Shell?
A.
So it goes into B.
All right.
Next up is the Dead Rising series.
I have no experience, but I'm gonna give it a B.
Remember, if you never played the game before in our little tier list game, you don't have to. There's no rank for it. It's just I've never played.
Then I'm just gonna put I've never finished the first one, so not enough for me to judge, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, so that means the theory would go between me and B.
One thing I will say is that there's very much a it's similar to like what I said for Ghosts and Goblins. It's definitely more of the same in the games. It's very fun because it does have the open world aspect, the open world-esque aspect to it. But I remember somebody explained the Dead Rising games as a slow pace hack and slash. It's the way somebody explained that game to me. And I do see it because of the diversity of weapons. Weapons are like the primary thing for it. I will have to put it in C tier though, because I feel like there was a decline in games as they went on later on. I feel like there was a decline in like the quality of the games. Granted, there was some really good narrative, but I wasn't really pulled in after the first one, if that makes sense.
I gotcha. What about you, Shell? Dead Rising?
I'm gonna again. Dead Rising, not much experience beyond the first game, and even then, I never finished it. So I'm just gonna put it as not enough to really judge it. So that's my answer.
Okay. All right. So for me, Dead Rising 1 was great for me. I enjoyed it. Like I said before, Frank West naked. That's it. Like that's that's not the reason why, but Dead Rising was fun because anything was a weapon at this point. You want to use a golden shower head and just like shove it in a zombie's head and it just spills blood? Awesome. You want to use a chainsaw? Awesome. You want to use a purse? You want to be like Bobby from King of the Hill? That's my purse! I don't know you! And then just beat the crap out of them with the purse? Yes, that's the one. That's the one that does it. So, yeah, like that's what I would do. That would be usually the weapons and that'll be choices. And Dead Rising was a big one for me when it came down to it. I didn't play 2 or 3, unfortunately, but 2 did well apparently, and then 3 was just like meh. And then 4, we don't know what happened. So that's kind of where the situation I'm looking at. Dead Rising is a B for me.
Fair.
And B, what about you?
Yep, for me, like I said, I believe it is C.
C. And Shell?
No, not much experience. Not enough to judge.
So I will put it here for now.
Okay.
The Mega Man X series. That's an S for me.
Okay, so let me explain my thing with Mega Man X. I love 1 and 4 a whole lot. Those 2 are the best games in the X series, easily. 2 and 3, like 2 is good, really good. Probably like number 3 and like the best, like the worst to best.
Mm-hmm.
Not as good as 1 or X1 or X4, but on its own, it's still a fun game. And X3 kind of felt like X3 is kind of mid, run in the mill. And the one thing that really pissed me off about X3 was right after you beat Sigma in that game, there is an escape sequence. You might, if you fuck up, you have to fight Sigma all over again.
Oh God.
And then you have like X5, which is kind of like so-so.
No.
X6
No. X5 was great. I actually enjoyed X5. It was when X6 came into the picture.
Oh, X6 is awful, and so is X7. I think X6 is the worst, but X7 is like the second worst. They're both really bad games. And X8, I personally think, is solid. Decent game.
X8 definitely was mid.
X8 was definitely mid. X7 was garbage, and well, not garbage, but it was not that great, especially since it was introducing a new character like Axel. It was like, wow, okay, so Axel's gonna just be put in a game that's not so great. That's fantastic. But also X Command Mission is a good game.
I haven't played that one, but I did play the 2 Game Boy Color Mega Man X games, which were Extremes 1 and 2. Extreme 1 is basically Mega Man X on a budget, but it's not a bad game. It's okay. It's decent. It's what you would expect out of a Game Boy Color game. And Mega Man Extreme 2, oh my God. I actually don't like that game. And I'll tell you why. Because you have to beat the game multiple times as X and Zero and get like all the Robot Master, like all the Mavericks, all the parts and everything, and then you have to go through one final scenario where you control both of them to take on like the final form of Sigma in that one, and he is no pushover whatsoever. Like it's pretty dull. Not a fan of it. Did not enjoy Extreme 2. But Extreme 1's solid.
Definitely. So, guys, what is your letter ranking for Mega Man X?
For me, look, I am not. Look, as much as I played the X series, I'm not a fan of it. It definitely was like an upgrade to classic in terms of like platforming. They innovated, they added new things like the dash, the wall jump, and whatnot. But I'm just not a fan of the X series. For me, it would be C tier.
And where would you put it, Hito? You said S, right?
I said S. So where does this put you, Shell, what?
I'll put an A.
So it ends up in A, because an S and A, but then the C, it's not going to be B, because there's two things that are reaching the A. So it goes in A. Rival schools.
S.
I'd love to say S tier for it. I'm going to say high B tier because of the fact it only had 2 games, pretty much.
Mine is A for this one.
I'm also A. I am also A.
So
As much as I love Rival Schools, if it got a third one that was much more up to date and recent, I would say S tier.
Yeah.
all
But
right.
it's definitely high B for me. High B, low A.
Gotcha. All right, next up is the Lost Planet series. And
D.
D.
It hurts me to say it because I put so much time into Lost Planet 2 and 3. The multiplayer was super fun, but that game died really fast.
Mm-hmm. Like I definitely believe that, because with Lost Planet, like I have the game for my 360 and I tried playing it, but it was just whistling wasteland. Nothing really there. No substance.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to say I've only played a little bit, like a little bit of the multiplayer for the first game, but not enough for me to really judge the series as a whole. So I'm just gonna go with not enough to judge.
All right. Next up is the 1943 series, aka the arcade shooter.
I've almost beaten 1943 Kai, which was an update to 1943, and it got to a point where, like, after a certain like stage, like I think either the penultimate or the final stage, that if you die, then that's it. That game is hard. That game is absolutely hard.
Absolutely. So
That said, I haven't played too many of them to judge.
okay.
I'm in the same ballpark there because I've only played 1943 when it comes to Capcom shoot 'em ups. I may have played a few other ones, but I just can't recall them. So I don't feel like I have a place to say anything on those.
I would put them in C. And Shell, where did you put it?
Not enough to judge.
All right, so I'm gonna put it in C because the game is actually no. I'm gonna put this in B because it's a good introduction to getting into one of those arcade shooters quite often, and it's really good. All right, Marvel versus Capcom.
Yeah, okay. I will say there's only one bad game in the series, and that's Infinite. But I grew up with the first, second, and I played the third one like when it came out, like in 2011, as well as the update for it, Ultimate. There's way more good games in it than like the one bad game. Don't let Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite like make you think that the whole series is bad. No, it's fantastic.
Especially,
I'm gonna have to.
especially 2 and 3. 2 and 3 really did like step it up. You get to play as Phoenix Wright and throw your paperwork at people.
Yeah,
Oh, God, Phoenix Wright means in 3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with. You want to know where I'm gonna put Marvel vs. Capcom? S. In spite of Infinite.
Okay. B.
I definitely believe high A, low S specifically.
Okay.
I'm an S as well, by the way, so they all go.
If you look at the FGC, a very big portion of it is especially accredited to Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was one of the fighting games that really put fighting games out there for people. It had a lot of characters that everybody knew, and it brought them all together. The sheer amount of cast in that game.
Yeah, like
There's somebody for everybody.
Definitely. Hold on, let me add a row below. There we go.
and I know for a fact that like there will be it's like Marvel vs. Capcom gets a lot of people in the Capcom, but it also gets people in the Marvel, especially if they're casual Marvel fans and then they end up becoming like a lot more into Marvel, buying the comic books, watching the shows, watching the movies. Like, it's a win-win situation for both companies.
Yep. All right. Next up, Dino Crisis.
Well, I've only played the first one, I've beaten it, and I will say I enjoyed it. I still got to play the other games in the series, but I'm going to go and give it like a B.
I did not play enough Dino Crisis, so unfortunately I cannot do that.
I'm going to give it a C. The reason why is because it only has the 2 games, and it's just Resident Evil with dinosaurs. So, like, if you like dinosaurs, cool. S rank that.
There's 3 games.
There's 3?
There's 3.
The
Technically
third one's
4.
on Xbox.
Technically 4, but yeah.
Oh, there was a 3rd one. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, it was on the Xbox.
Next up is Final Fight. The beat 'em up.
I'm gonna give it an A.
I'm also gonna give it an A.
I'm giving it a B because I'm a Streets of Rage stand. 100%.
Of course.
That's fair. That's fair.
So 2 A's and a B makes an A. All right, Beautiful Joe.
S.
S.
I'm very biased.
Put an S.
I'm very biased.
It's A for me, but 2 S's are there, so we made an ass. Remember, an A and 2 S's make an ass out of yourself.
If you put S as your initials in the Capcom fighting games, especially like in the later ones, it changes to either Cap or Com because they don't like you doing that.
Exactly. Next up is the Monster Hunter series.
S S S S S S S S.
For me, I'd say A. I love the fact that they're like the multiplayer for Monster Hunter is so fun.
Yep.
The thing is that game has a very high skill window.
Exactly.
Like, it is not friendly to beginners.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it really is not. But once you like learn your weapon, learn like by like watching the monsters, learning how they move, getting like the grind, especially the grind is another part for me. It's not an easily accessible game for that reason. I do think that the sheer amount of fun you can have with your friends, hunting different monsters, like seeing how everybody uses their weapons against said monster, like it's definitely fun. So I'd say A.
All right. A is my choice as well. For all the reasons you said, B, including the skill window. All right, Capcom versus SNK.
S.
S. We didn't need to say more. All right, guys, the Disney Afternoon Collection.
Okay, how did we have a huge podcast on Capcom without having a deep discussion on the Disney games that they worked on?
Because we already did Disney games a couple of episodes ago.
Okay, but I will say DuckTales to me is one of the greatest games ever made. And also the remaster that came out back in 2013 that was made by WayForward. That's a really good remaster, which you can't get it on Wii U anymore because you can't buy any games on Wii U anymore. You can still get it on Steam.
Yep.
You can still get it on Steam. So if you can, that's a platform you can play it on. I still think that the Disney Afternoon Collection, the fact that it's been 6 years and it's not on Switch, it's a shame. But I'm like, I just bought it on Steam anyway. So,
all right, so
great games. I'll give it an A.
I agree. I agree with A 100% because there were amazing platformers, especially for the times that they came out. Like you said, with DuckTales and whatnot. Oh, I remember I put so much time into those. So much time.
all right, so before I even put this up here, so what's everyone's grade?
A.
Like,
Yeah.
we're both A.
I was gonna put B, but you guys got the A's, so that works. Dragon Quest. Did I say Dragon Quest? Breath of Fire. Wow, I can't read today. I can't read today.
I have no opinion on the series. I have not played any of them. Yes.
Okay. B.
I only played the one that I said before. I did enjoy it, but I do agree I don't have enough of like a play or time with it to say. If I was to give one, I would give it like a B, but I'm not going to give it a B. Like I'm going to rescind that if anything.
All right, so I'm going to give this series an A. It's actually worth it, guys. It's also free if you have a Switch, so play it. Because both Breath of Fire's 1 and 2 are on the Switch. Play it. It's a really good RPG. It is one of those taking turns RPGs, obviously, but the characters are worth it, honestly. And the story is actually pretty good. Breath of Fire, Dragon Quarters was like the part where people were like, we don't like this game anymore because you turned it into this. And it's like, y'all, it's a good game. You just got to give it a chance. Darkstalkers.
S.
Yeah.
That is my favorite fighting game.
Yep, that is S
series of
for me
all time.
too.
Yeah, we'll put it on that A as S.
Yep.
Even if I
like-
put it on A, it's still going S anyway.
Yep.
Like, when it comes to fighting games, it's very accessible. It's not what you expect from regular fight. Like, when it comes to like intricacies and whatnot, it rewards you for actually being aggressive. Not like with other fight. Like, there are other fighting games where like you can sit, you can turtle back, which is just staying in the back, blocking, and then only attacking when you're going to punish. Which is like, it's kind of what Street Fighter, like old school Street Fighter, that's what it was about, was primarily like punishing fundamentals. You got rewarded for being aggressive. And like, you were actually penalized because your opponent would heal in those games if you weren't as aggressive as you were being prior, which is something that was not heard of at the time when those games came out. And like I said, in terms of accessibility, a lot of the characters are really easy to pick up.
All right.
And it's a very colorful cast. It's very fun. I spent a fuck ton of time on it. So
Onimusha.
Yeah.
I only played and beaten the first one, and I would probably say that game was great. Because that game as a whole, like just the first one alone, I would give it an A. But I guess that's why I'll give it.
I'm gonna give it a C.
So I agree there with C.
So the reason why I would give this thing a C is because of the fact that it's really lackluster. It's just another hack and slash game. Like, mind you, this came out during the time that Devil May Cry came out. So when you look at the two together, it's like, oh, do I want to play Japanese modern samurai Devil May Cry, or do I want to play snarky twink with a giant sword Devil May Cry? I don't know. We shall see. And that's kind of where we look at it and we like, So Onimusha wasn't really that great to me, honestly. I have all three games. I've played all of them, but it's not... there's something missing. It feels like it's missing a soul.
I want to say B. I want to rescind my C and say B, because it does bring me... Like, those games, they were like hack and slashes. They weren't stealthy at all, but it harkens me back to the times when I played games like Tenchu Wrath of Heaven on PS2 and such.
Got it. All right.
So I'd have to say, like, B.
All right. Final one. Armored Warriors.
Oh, I know this one. Armored Warriors is a beat 'em up, which also has a sequel that's a fighting game called Cyberbots. Cyberbots. This game is actually really good. It's in the Capcom Arcade Stadium as well as Capcom Fighting Collection. Great game. There's a character in there named Jin who would be in the first two Marvel vs. Capcom games with his mech called Bloodia.
Which I love Jin, by the way. I use Jin quite often.
I'm going to give that series an A.
I'd give it an A as well. What about you, B? Have you played Armored Warriors?
I've played Cyberbots,
Okay.
so I enjoyed Cyberbots for what it is. It is a vastly different fighting game. That is for sure. Like, it definitely feels different from what you would expect from like traditional fighters and whatnot. It's not bad, but you can definitely tell it was like the first of its kind when it comes to those kind of fighting games. So for me, I guess going off of that, I would put them in B.
All right.
Okay.
Well, there's two A's and a B, so
You get ABBA.
ABBA.
And this
Mamma Mia.
is our Capcom list for now. They did not have such we discussed every single series. I hope we discussed every single series.
Hold on. Where's Okami?
Not here, unfortunately.
That'd be an S. That'd be
That would've been
instant
S.
S.
Yeah.
That would've been an S.
That would have been an S.
Instant S.
But all in all together, I think this was a good list. We've talked about we've talked literally in mass majority of like all of the series at this point, and that's a great thing that we can say. The fact that we know Capcom like the back of our hands. Sure.
Like the back of our hands.
Yeah, I guess. But the fact that we're able to talk about Capcom to a very high degree is like a sentiment on how well these games do and how well that they've been doing since the get-go. They've been doing really well when it comes to their games, and honestly, I'm happy to see it go, but we need more representation from series you forgot. But
Mega Man Legends.
Yeah.
yep. So we're gonna be giving out final thoughts now. So B, your final thoughts on this Capcom podcast?
Capcom is definitely a series, well, a company that is close to my heart for many reasons. Like Battle Network, especially specifically for me, is a big, huge part of my childhood. That, and if it wasn't for Capcom, I wouldn't have my most favorite fighting games in general. Because I'm definitely, like I said before, I'm huge on fighters. And there's Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, Rival Schools, like you name it. I'm very big on those, so I'm definitely appreciative for Capcom. And I would like to see more. Darkstalkers is not dead.
Mm-hmm.
Darkstalkers is not dead indeed. Yeah.
Shell, you are next.
Capcom.
Shell, you
No
are
matter what
next.
Capcom says. Okay, so with Capcom for me, it means so much to me because these games helped shape who I am as a gamer, someone who is into video games. I love Capcom. I love Mega Man. I love Street Fighter and all of them. All these games, like even some of the more obscure stuff. I love like the Strider series, or for example. But for me, and even getting into stuff later on, like Resident Evil, Ace Attorney, Devil May Cry, like and Monster Hunter, like all these games, just help me define what type of games I like, what type of games I would expect to play in a completely different level compared to a lot of others. Not to say that I'm like better than everyone else. That's not saying that at all, mind you. But I do think that these games have made me like really think of what type of games are going to be interesting to me. So I've been playing these games for 30 plus years, and I cannot take anything away from it whatsoever.
Okay. Well, Capcom, you and me have a very steady relationship in some way. You give me games that I enjoy, especially in the past. You've given me many games that I enjoy, and then you take them away by basically not giving us more when we could absolutely use more. I definitely love the Street Fighter series. I love Dead Rising. I love a whole bunch of games that come on. But a pattern that I noticed with Capcom is that when it comes to the games, if they're doing something right, they always somehow find a way to make it go wrong.
Yes, that's true.
Agreed.
And mind you, I wish Capcom could learn from some of their mistakes, which I like to say now they're starting to slowly learn from their mistakes. Bringing stuff like the Battle Network Legacy Collection was a big step up. Bringing Apollo Justice's trilogy is a step up. Bringing forth the new changes in Street Fighter 6, which now are absolutely phenomenon. They're phenomenal right now. The controls are great. I think Capcom is slowly learning how to get the muck out of their muck. You know what I mean? So they are slowly getting back into the groove of things. And if they could do that with games that haven't been out in forever, hell, remastering Ghouls and Goblins, that came out well.
Yes.
But in all honesty, at the end of the day, like, just keep pulling off all of the stuff that you've been doing now. It's really coming to a good finale where you guys are now becoming very much known for your games. You're already known for your games, but now you're being known for your games, not taking a nosedive into the ratings. Now you're getting, like, mind you, when Breath of Fire came out and the last game, which was Dragon Quarters, came out, people did not like it. I only like it because it was my first game that introduced me to the series, but that's about it. If you can make a new Breath of Fire game, you could really do some damage. If you can make a new Onimusha game that doesn't go crazy, that'd be great. If you make another Okami game, Okami 2, I think a lot of people will go nuts over that.
I definitely would like to see a sequel to it because we did kind of get one. We got a spin-off. Called Okami Den on the DS.
It's cute, but it wasn't the same.
Yeah, it definitely didn't have the same feel.
Hell, learn from your I think Capcom learning from their mistakes of certain games like Dead Rising going down the shitter at some point, which is where it got really bad. Dino Crisis could have been a lot better. Let's agree on that one, if anything. Resident Evil. You're fixing your mistakes on Resident Evil. You're remaking all of the games that you felt that needed a lot of help, including 4. Even though 4 didn't really need that much help, just it needed a gag on Ashley talking. But my point is, the fact that you're slowly fixing Resident Evil is showing me that, okay, maybe things could have been a lot better. We were working with limitations last time, but this time it's going to come out great.
Yep.
You know, Final Fight, I would love to see another beat 'em up for Final Fight at least. And
bring that back.
I would definitely love to see some of these other series go off. Beautiful Joe needs to come back.
Yes, if whenever people ask what should come back next, that's the
Beautiful
one I want
Joe.
to see come
Beautiful
back.
Joe.
Beautiful Joe and Rival Schools.
Rival Schools, Power Stone, but they're also actually looking into, like, they're making some new IPs. They're actually making this new game that looked amazing. It was in the Xbox showcase called Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess trailer, which at first I thought it was a new Onimusha, but it's actually a new game. It's an action game. It looks really good.
Definitely. So, with that being said, we're going to close out with the special sound effect from the SNES. That beautiful sound. Well, guys, this is Hito Retro Gaming and Crew, and we are going to be signing off. Bye. 8-bit love to all of ya. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.